Hello friends, welcome to The Buzz. On this episode, we'll be checking in on the improvement projects at Lake Chaminwood. How about trying a new hobby? I'll give you a crash course on nature photography. So get ready for construction and composition on this episode of The Buzz. Lake Chaminwood is a popular preserve for a variety of reasons. The clear lake is lovely to go fishing or kayaking on. The trail and the bridge provide hiking as well as beautiful views of the sunset. And there's a small picnic shelter that's the perfect place to have lunch. Lake Chaminwood has been closed since the spring for improvement projects. And we're here today to give you a peek on those updates and what to expect when it reopens. Located in the western part of Will County in Troy Township, Lake Chaminwood is one of our relatively newer preserves being acquired in 2011. Its name is a tribute to the surrounding towns, Shaw for Shanahan, Min for Minooka, and Wood for Shorewood. It's famous for the lake, of course, but this is actually two lakes and a portion of the DuPage River along with wetland habitat. The calm waters make canoeing, kayaking, and fishing a real treat. It's a relaxing paddle and you can often see fish and other wildlife. These lakes are known for bass fishing, but you can also catch catfish, crappie, and bluegill. Other wildlife includes basking turtles, swimming muskrats, hunting great blue herons, and great egrets. In my opinion, these are the clearest lakes you're going to find in the preserves. The clarity is due to the surrounding land naturally providing filtration and springs that are supplying water. These lakes used to be old gravel quarries, which tend to have clear blue water. And it looks like you can just touch the bottom, but the smaller lake is about 20 feet deep, and that larger one can be 25 feet deep in some spots. The preserve is also right next to the I&M Canal Trail. There's no connection yet, but we're working on it. For the past few months, this preserve has been closed for construction, including foot traffic and bike traffic. Joining us today to give us more insight on all the improvements is Chief Landscape Architect Matt Novander. So let's start with the parking lot. Why is this an important part of the project?
So this particular parking lot was maxed out. We originally developed this site in 2010, constructed in 2011. It was expected to be a quaint fishing hole / kayaking, and as soon as people figured out where it was and how nice it was, it ballooned. So anytime that you would show up out here at the preserve, you would be lucky to find a parking spot, and people started overflowing onto Shepley Road. People started bringing boat trailers for their paddling vehicles, and we realized that improvements were needed and needed quickly. So we kind of pivoted some timelines with things and added this to our capital plan.
Yeah, because it was just too popular.
Exactly, which is a good problem
Very
to
good
have,
thing, yeah.
But we just need to address it to take care of that.
When talking about expanding this parking lot, how big is it going to get? How many more spots do we get?
So we had a little bit over 20 spots before, and we're tripling that capacity.
Awesome.
And adding about 8 to 10 trailer spots as well. With the original design, it was just a small bottle cap parking lot. We've had to completely change the entrance to that. So that's shifted to the west by a couple of 100 feet. But all in all, we're gonna have about 68 to 70 parking spots with additional trailer parking as well.
Another project on the list is an accessible kayak launch and a floating dock. Can you tell us more about that?
Over the last several years at the Forest Preserve, we've designed at least 6 or 7 of these. We haven't quite gotten them right. When I was at a conference about 4 years ago, at the end of the exhibit hall, there was this thing. I saw it and it checked all the boxes they were looking for. It's an adaptive launch. It has all kinds of different handrails. It has assisted slide outs so that people can raise and lower themselves in their device, and it also has a chute along the side of it that will assist your kayak going as you go down to the gangway. At the base of the thing, there's a floating dock, but at the end of the day, We really think that this thing is going to help those in need of assistance getting in and out of their flotation devices. There's all the different devices down here that allow people to get in and out of their device easier. There's transition stairs for if somebody's in a chair that needs to come down. They can transition from their wheelchair onto this top step and then progressively move down. There's a slide out bar that can go completely across the entire width of their vessel, or just as far as they need. There's grab bars on both sides, as well as straps to allow them to come in and out. But yeah, we're excited about this and plan on implementing it at a couple of other preserves in the future.
Can you tell me more about when you consider accessibility in these construction projects here and throughout the district?
Yeah, so we like to take a universal design approach to accessibility, which basically makes sure that you're checking all of your boxes and doing all the right things to make things accessible, right? Mm-hmm. But with universal design, you're really trying to do it in a way that it looks like there was no other design option, right? It's just the way that it should be, and everything just happens to be accessible while you're doing it. So this project and all of our forest preserve projects, that's the end goal that we try to achieve with all of our designs.
There's also plans to include accessible fishing piers. Where are they going to go, and are they any different than the one that we already have?
No, so they're basically the exact same thing as the one that we already have. We're planning on two more, one on the east lake over here on this side, and then as the trail extension happens and goes next to the other lake, we're going to add one out there at the turn, well, basically at the bend in it. Mm-hmm. Reason why is basically give people access to different parts of the lake, and also with the popularity out here, once one family gets onto one deck, they kind of take over the whole entire thing, right? It's not the intention, but at max you're getting two families on one of those things. So it just provides more opportunities and in different areas of the lakes. We have our second phase of this project that'll be kicking off, which is the trail extension, multiple fishing piers, and a bridge over the I&M Canal to connect up with the I&M Canal Trail. That project, we almost have all of our permits in place. We're just waiting on one, and once we have that, we'll go out to bid, get a contractor on board, and hopefully start that work sometime this year. If not, it'll be early next year. The preserve is planned on being open that entire time. It's just the use of the trail around the main current lake is going to be inaccessible for the entire route.
How is this project funded?
So there's two different funding sources. One of them is part of our capital improvement program. So it's the bond refinancing that we did a couple of years ago. So it's part of our 2020-2024 capital improvement plan. And then also the Joseph Dollinger family donated $750,000 for the project in total. Historically, this particular site was part of their family farm going back generations. Mm-hmm. So they felt that a contribution towards the forest preserve was a proper way to use their funds, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Lastly, there's plans to extend this trail. Where is it connecting to, and what trail is it connecting to?
Right, so currently around the lake we have a loop trail system that starts and ends at the parking lot, right? It's a little under 7/10 of a mile. What we're trying to do is extend the trail further into the preserve to get access, water access to the other lake, as well as connecting across the I&M Canal to the I&M Canal Trail. Another reason for the expanded parking lot is that we're anticipating that this is going to be a trailhead access for the I&M Canal Trail. It's always been planned, and historically the southern terminus of the DuPage River Trail, which starts up in Bolingbrook, goes through Naperville, Plainfield, Shorewood, and down. There's patches of that are in place. There's some large gaps, but some of the major obstacles with the DuPage River Trail headed this way are being taken care of. For instance, Illinois Department of Transportation is putting a pedestrian bridge over I-80 on River Road, which will help the north-south connection up into Shorewood. So this is going to be a major trailhead connection for the area, not just for the I&M Canal, but also for the DuPage River Trail.
And how is it working with all these different entities, the state and you said the roadways?
Yeah, so each entity has its own personality. Some are easier to deal with than others. This one has a myriad of layers to it. So it's our normal permitting stuff where it's IDNR, OWR, Army Corps of Engineers. But when you get something like the I&M Canal and the I&M Canal Trail involved into this, it ratchets it up to a completely different level, because then you're dealing with a National Registered Historic Site, right? So then there's another layer of review that goes with it. Portions of this project, since they're not in our ownership, they're in IDNR's ownership, we have to work out lease agreements and all of those things even prior to us getting to engineering, just so that we know at a staff level that the project is viable and that we can move forward. So that's the first thing, is reaching out to them, starting the conversation, and then getting all your ducks in a row to get to this point. But it takes years.
Do you know how long you've been working on this one?
Yeah, so phase 2 for this particular project, we initially reached out to IDNR to start that conversation in 2019, and then started hiring engineers to actually do the design work and start the permitting work in 2020. So it took us about 3 years to break ground on the first phase, which is the easier part of that. This project was originally supposed to be designed and constructed as one continuous project. We broke it out into 2 separate phases because the parking lot could happen sooner based on all of its permitting hoops that we have to jump through, if you will, with the trail portion to follow. We always believed that the trail portion was going to happen. It was just a matter of how long is this going to take, and we still needed to alleviate a lot of the concerns and safety hazards that were created by having such of a small access area. There's going to be increased access and use of this site just from the trail connections alone. And the immediate one would be the connection to the I&M Canal Trail, right, to this facility, which gives people on bikes something else to do while they're out. But in the long run, once the DuPage River Trail is completed, this is going to be a major trail hub for the area.
How do you think all these projects will enrich the visitor experience?
Well, I think that by adding these new facilities, whether it's the floating kayak dock or the trail connection to the I&M Canal Trail, southern terminus of DuPage River stuff, all of this is just basically a testament to the work that's come before us and the work that we're currently doing to enrich everybody's lives down here and throughout, the Will County area. We're basically trying to alleviate some safety concerns along the road, as well as give people more access to the preserve, because there's nothing more frustrating than showing up to a place that you wanted to spend, an hour, maybe even 10 or 15 minutes enjoying your lunch and not having a spot to park in, right? So hopefully this helps with that and gets more people out and active in our preserves.
These improvements are an exciting addition to the already beautiful Lake Chaminwood. It's projects like these that help us all explore the preserves more safely and to their fullest. To stay up to date on all the improvements, check our website at reconnectwithnature.org.
The benefits are great when you invest in nature by donating to the Nature Foundation of Will County. You can help protect our precious habitats and restore natural areas back to their native state. Provide educational opportunities to unlock the natural world for present and future generations. Support diversity and inclusion so everyone can experience the magnificence of nature. The Nature Foundation works hand in hand with the Forest Preserve District of Will County to strengthen the commitment to land stewardship, nature education, wellness, cooperation, and sustainability. Donations large and small make a lasting and significant positive impact on the environment. Invest in nature and join our growing community. Support the cause at willcountynature.org.
And now, a moment of peace and serenity.
One of my creative outlets is nature photography. I got into it while studying abroad in Costa Rica and taking pictures of all the crazy things we were seeing. I ended up making a field guide of sorts, including the frogs and snakes and so much more. Over the years, I learned how to turn an identification photo into something more artistic. And now with cameras in our back pockets, it's easier than ever to get into photography. So I'll go over some composition tips as well as some tricks to get the best nature moments so you'll be a shutterbug in no time. First off, I like to address the elephant in the room when it comes to photography. Do you need a fancy camera to get those great, beautiful photos? Honestly, it depends on your goal. In most cases, no. I would say your cell phone camera is just fine. And you always tend to have your phone, so that means you always have your camera on you. However, if you want to catch birds or faraway wildlife, having a nice camera with a good zoom is a must. Now, it doesn't mean you have to go out and buy the top model. There's lots of point and shoot digital cameras that have fantastic zoom. But one key is a tripod. A tripod is a must to stabilize your camera for when you're trying to take a picture of something far away. No matter the camera, it is helpful to know how to operate it. So when I first started out, I took a few classes at Joliet Junior College. But another suggestion is to join a photography club because chances are you'll run into someone with a similar camera. And with the power of the internet, I'm sure there's tons of YouTube videos that are eager to help. Why I would argue that your cell phone camera is the perfect place to start is because photography composition is the key of getting those eye-catching photos. Composition is how the elements of your photo are arranged. It's the ingredients that takes a frog and turns it into a story. These are guidelines that you can have in your toolbox, and it's up to you to decide how many you want to put in effect to get that beautiful photo. One of the main things about composition is the rule of thirds. So picture your photograph and it's split up into thirds, both vertically and horizontally, like a tic-tac-toe board. When you have your focal point smack dab in the middle, it can feel a little static. Instead, try to move it over to the edges or the top or the bottom because your eyes will find it and then follow it. This rule of thirds can work for any subject. So if you're doing landscapes, for example, you can put your horizon on the top or the bottom line. If you want to focus on your clouds, you're going to put it on the bottom so you can see more. If you have water with lots of reflections, you're going to put that on the top so the water's the focal point. You can do it with trees and people, moving them off to the edges. Or if you are taking something with eyeballs like a frog, put those eyes on the top line. And keep in mind those intersecting points. That's where the eye gets drawn to. So putting your focal point there will highlight it even more. Lighting can affect the emotion of your photo. So working with dark lights can bring an ominous or mysterious vibe, while bright lights make the photo feel airy and optimistic. Also, the direction of the light is something to play with. So things that are backlit look like they glow, where if the sun's right overhead, it's going to cast shadows. For nature photography, I try to take advantage of what's called the golden hour. So I try to get up early or stay late. The golden hour is the hour right after the sun rises or the last hour before the sun sets. That golden hour just makes everything seem so, golden. One of my favorites was when I was in Joshua Tree National Park, and I have a picture of the ranger and some cactus, and the sun's going down, and there's a little glow in the cactus, and the ranger is just the silhouette. It just creates a moment. The best part is I took it on my phone because we were kind of climbing up rocks. I didn't have the capability to bring my nice camera, and I still am just in love with this photo taken on just a phone. We stumbled upon this tree full of turkey tail fungus, and it reminded me of the composition tip of Fill the Frame. So instead of just taking the full log and far away views, challenge yourself to get up right close and fill the whole picture of just the fungus. Something that there's plenty of is bark. So don't be afraid to get up close because the patterns on this are pretty cool and every tree is unique. So you never know what's gonna kind of pop out once you get close. We found a bullfrog here in the water, and you probably could get it with your phone, but you have to get up close. So that's when I switch over to my bigger camera with a better zoom, so I can give the frog its distance, because if it's reacting to me, that means I'm too close. So I get my zoom on, I line up, but for me, I always want to get different perspectives, so I want to get belly on the floor, so I'm eye to eye with the frog. So one tip that I find gets overlooked really easily is working with angles. So a lot of time when we're taking photos, our instinct is just to take it at our perspective, at our eyesight. But I challenge you to try all sorts of different ways. So try doing a bird's eye view and try to get right over top of it and see what that looks like. Try bending your knees and getting low. And then if you're ready, go all the way flat on your belly to see it from eye to eye. I got distracted while we were walking and we found a spider on its web. Now I tried to take a picture of that, but it very much quickly skirted off. But with that, when I was low, I saw some daddy longlegs. So I'm gonna try to take some photos of that. You'll notice I'm on the ground with them, and I try to get as close as I can without using my camera zoom. That will give you the most clearest picture. They're not moving, so these are good subjects to really play around with your angles, do all sorts of different sides, because you never know which picture you're gonna like better once you get home and start looking at everything. When it comes to landscapes, my trick is to visit a spot at all different times of year and day, because the lighting is what's gonna make the place feel different. So going in the morning and trying at sunset, going in the winter and going in fall. This particular spot is a pond found in Hickory Creek Preserve. It's one of my favorite places that I check back in throughout the year. When trying to capture wildlife, patience is key and luck is huge. Keep in mind, those pictures from National Geographic come from hours and hours and hours of waiting and being tucked in a blind so they're not seen. So when it's with wildlife, you want to try to keep your space, but also I try to find some personality in the subject. So if it's doing a behavior like feeding or preening, maybe it's calling in the pond, that just gives it a little bit more spice than just your straight on photo. If you're new to nature photography, I would start off with plants and flowers, because ideally they don't move unless on windy days. But you have the most control over them. You can get close, you can get far away, and the best thing to know about them is you just need to know when they bloom and where to find them. So in the spring, hit the woodlands and go to preserves like Messenger Woods or O'Hara Woods for all those blankets of wildflowers. In the summer, then hit the prairies like Hadley Valley or Kankakee Sands. And in the fall, I would switch over to fungus. Places like Raccoon Grove have some really cool things, bright orange ones or even slimy ones. Again, they don't move, you get to go close, and they're very interesting focal points. It's important to have fun and be creative, but there are some best practices to keep in mind. I love nature photography because I can share a moment in time that many people might walk on by. But if I have to destroy the plant or wreck the habitat, then it kind of defeats the purpose. So when I'm at a plant, I may brush down the grasses or move a few leaves, but I'm never going to pluck out the flower or the mushroom and move it to a better place. And remember, with wildlife, if they're noticing you, you're too close. One of my favorite photos is of a northern water snake swimming at Snapper Pond in Goodnow Grove Nature Preserve. I just caught it at the right moment where it stuck its head out of the water and I got its tongue sticking out. Plus, I love that you can see its patterns underneath the water surface. I also love taking photos of flowers. I can't even begin to tell you how many I have throughout the years. And I also like taking my camera when kayaking because I like seeing the sun's reflection on the water and trying to catch that perfect sunset. So whatever your favorite focal point is, the best tip I can give you is to go outside and try all of these composition tips out. Make sure you take tons of photos, so many that your hands hurt, because you never know what you're going to be lucky enough to capture.
Life can come at us quick, but when you take it outside, things move a little slower. There's time to soak in spectacular views in prairie or woodland habitats and feel like you're a world away from city life. This summer, take it outside in Will County's forest preserves and rejuvenate your body and soul. Learn more at reconnectwithnature.org.
I can't wait to experience all the new features at Lake Chaminwood. Hopefully we motivate you to explore the preserves through a new lens of nature photography. Map your next adventure at reconnectwithnature.org to see what nature moments are in season for your new photo goals. I hope to see you out using all the new angles, but until then, I'll see you next time on The Buzz.